Cultural Center on Sunday, 11th March. This is a curtain raiser, so we will go into a bit of detail about the conference. And to do that, I have with me Secretary MNRE, Sri Anand Kumar, Secretary ER in the Ministry of External Affairs, Sri Trimurti, and Mr. Nagaraj Naidu, who is Joint Secretary Europe West, and also he is in charge of this conference. So without any further delay, sir, may I request you?
Good afternoon to all of you, and thank you for coming. The International Solar Alliance was launched by Honorable Prime Minister in the 21st Conference of Parties of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in Paris in November 2015. The framework agreement of the establishment of the ISA was opened for signature in Morocco on 15th November 2016. The ISA became a legal entity on 6th December 2016, 30 days after the deposit of the 15th ratification instrument by Guinea. Therefore, in a short span of a mere 1 year, the ISA has become a legal entity. So far, 55 countries have signed the framework agreement of ISA, out of which 26 countries have already ratified it. As you're aware, ISA includes 121 prospective member countries that fall within the tropics, so to say, and are known for receiving the maximum solar intensity for over 300 days a year. The founding conference of the ISA will take place on 11th March at the Rashtrapati Bhavan Cultural Center in New Delhi. We expect all the signatories and countries which have ratified the ISA framework agreement to be present. They have been invited jointly by the Honorable Prime Minister and the President of France. We have also invited, inter alia, the multilateral development banks, UN agencies, business entities, particularly in the field of renewable energy, civil society, research institutions, etc. As of now, the indications are that 55 out of the 55, nearly half the countries will be represented at heads of state or heads of government level. President of France, Emmanuel Macron, will be in Delhi to participate in this event. And we will also have deputy prime ministerial or ministerial level heads of delegation of another 10 countries or so. In addition, we have the presence of the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, as well as representations from 6 of the multilateral development banks. The level of participation is a clear indication of the high importance that the countries are attaching to this founding conference of the ISA. One of the significant initiatives which India will launch during the ISA founding conference is extending lines of credit to specific solar energy projects in various developing countries. Over the last few months, we have been intensely engaged with various signatory countries to ascertain their interest in having solar projects in their respective countries. We have been overwhelmed by their positive response to our offer, and nearly 20 countries have already responded with concrete proposals for us to take up solar projects in their countries. The range of these proposals include projects in areas such as rural electrification, solar electricity in important buildings and structures, water supply, electrification of villages, irrigation, street lighting, and off-grid usage of solar energy, solar applications, etc. We are now in the process of finalizing the list of projects in consultation with these user countries, which will then be covered under our lines of credit. This initiative of India is in line with the vision of our Prime Minister, who has taken the leadership role in the context of combating climate change. While many of these initiatives on renewable energy are already being put in place in the domestic sphere, our commitment to provide the world, particularly the developing countries, with an option of clean, climate-friendly, affordable, appropriate, and sustainable energy will be a hallmark during this founding conference. Thank you.
Friends, very good afternoon to you all. Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, and the President of France, His Excellency Mr. Emmanuel Macron, will jointly host the founding conference of the International Solar Alliance on 11th March 2018 in the Rashtrapati Bhavan, New Delhi. The conference is likely to be attended by heads of the states, governments, or their special envoys, and ministers from over 50 countries that have signed the ISA Framework Agreement. The idea of the International Solar Alliance was conceived by India and jointly launched by India and France on the sidelines of Paris Climate Conference in November 2015. ISA is a reflection of common desire to significantly augment harnessing of solar energy, make joint efforts towards technology development, and mobilize investment in the solar sector in order to promote energy security and universal energy access in member countries. The member countries share the ambition for reducing the cost of finance and cost of technology development for deployment of affordable solar energy. Till date, 55 countries have signed and 26 countries have ratified the ISA Framework Agreement. In conformity with ISA Framework Agreement, 30 days after ratification by the 15th country, on 6th December 2017, ISA became the first full-fledged treaty-based international intergovernmental organization to be headquartered in India. ISA Secretariat is located in the National Institute of Solar Energy campus in Gwalpari, Gurugram, Haryana. On 16th February 2018, while inaugurating the World Sustainable Development Summit in India, in New Delhi, India, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, referred to the ISA as the single most important global achievement after the Paris Accord on climate change. The first General Assembly of the ISA is expected to be held on the sidelines of the second edition of the Renewable Energy Global Investors Meet and Expo, in short, RE Invest, to be organized by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy in April 2018. RE Invest aims at developing partnerships with relevant stakeholders to galvanize the renewable energy sector by innovating new means of financing at low rates, enhancing technology efficiency, reducing the cost of technology, and exploring new ways for utilizing renewable energy. Friends, ISA Interim Secretariat was jointly inaugurated by the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, and the then President of France, His Excellency Mr. Francois Hollande, on 25th January 2016. Three programs, namely scaling solar applications for agriculture use, affordable finance at scale, and scaling solar mini grids, have been launched. These programs will help in achieving the overall goal of increased solar energy deployment in the ISA member countries for achieving universal energy access and speeding up the economic development. ISA now plans to launch two more programs, one for scaling solar rooftop and second for scaling solar-supported e-mobility. In addition, a large number of organizations such as World Bank, UNDP, European Investment Bank, European Bank for Reconstruction and Deployment and Development, Climate Parliament, etc., has signed joint declarations for forging partnerships with ISA for development and deployment of solar energy globally. India has offered to meet ISA Secretariat expenses for initial 5 years. The Government of India has allotted 5 acres of land to ISA in NICE campus in Gurugram, Haryana, and released a sum of rupees 130 crore for creating a corpus fund, building infrastructure, and meeting day-to-day recurring expenditure. Besides, the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, has set aside $2 billion for solar projects in Africa out of Government of India's $10 billion concessional line of credit for Africa. As you are aware, by 31st March 2018, India will have approximately 22 gigawatt of installed capacity through solar energy. We plan to touch the target of 100 gigawatt by 31st March 2022. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has already announced the trajectory for achieving the target. The ministry would be bidding out 20 gigawatt this year, a 30 gigawatt capacity next year, and another 30 gigawatt in the year 2019 and 20. The reason being, the solar projects take at least 18 months for implementation. So working backwards, if we have to install a capacity of 100 gigawatt by 31st March 2022, we must complete the bidding of 100 gigawatt by 31st 3/2000 and hence 2020, and hence we have declared the trajectory already. so that all stakeholders, including the developers, manufacturers, and the financial institutions, they can plan their programs accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, sirs. Now the floor is open for questions. Ranjit.
Do you have a confirmed list of the heads of states who are coming here?
Yeah, we have a list of confirmations from heads of states and heads of governments who are coming.
Can you give us a
See, I think this is slightly premature to give you a full response to that. But let me just say that we are expecting heads of states from France, Sri Lanka, Seychelles, Ghana, Gabon, Australia, Venezuela, Bangladesh, and heads of governments from Fiji, for example, the Deputy Prime Minister of Mauritius, and many other countries as well. I'm just giving you a sense of where we stand, but we'll be able to give you a little bit more details as we get a full list, and that's a better time to give you the list.
Pakistan sending a delegation? Pakistan is a signatory to this treaty or not?
We've earlier explained to you the concept of the ISA. It is 121 countries which fall within the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn. Pakistan doesn't fall in this. So.
Any other question on any? Yes, please.
So the lines of credit that India would be announcing, the 2 billion which has been earmarked for Africa, so what will be the announcement about what will the quantum that will be announced?
See, as of now, as I said, we have nearly 20 countries and which have expressed a very keen interest to collaborate with India in this field. And we are sort of intensely engaging with them to not only flesh out the projects, but also see how best to collaborate with them under lines of credit. I can assure you it's going to be fairly substantial. But at this point, I think, once again, give you the quantum will be a bit difficult because we are still waiting to come back to us with the nature of our assistance. And once that is there, I'm sure that we'll be able to give you the details.
Right. So, Kumar sir, you talked about some time back about World Bank signing an agreement with ISA to mobilize $1 trillion in investment by 2030. There was an announcement which was made which talked about how ISA along with World Bank will be mobilizing $1 trillion in investment by 2030. Where do we stand on that?
This is under, this ISA is directly holding negotiations with World Bank, and we'll come back with the details.
राकेश जी, नहीं माइक लीजिए पहले, नहीं तो किसी के समझ में नहीं आएगा.
आनंद जी, ये जो आपने बताया अभी 55 कंट्रीज़ और जो डाटा दिया 26 कंट्रीज़, और अभी त्रिमूर्ति साहब बता रहे थे कंफर्म लिस्ट नहीं है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, हेड ऑफ स्टेट्स के अलावा क्या आपने मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज़ या जो सोलर कंपनीज़ हैं भारत के या भारत के बाहर को, उनको भी इनवाइट किया है? और उनकी क्या संख्या है? यदि ऐसा कुछ प्रोविज़न है इसमें तो?
No, we have a confirmed list, but except that I'm not giving the entire list to you.
Companies,
no, I understand. Yeah. So, no, just to clarify, it's not that we don't have a confirmed list. See, actually, you're absolutely right. Our whole intention is to engage the corporate side as well, the academic side, particularly the research side, where there is a great deal of interest in affordable and innovative technologies. So this is an area which will be certainly of great interest to us. So therefore, as I mentioned, not just the multilateral development banks, but we are involving all the other civil society, the UN agencies and others. And there is, as I mentioned, there is a great deal of interest in this conference because it's going to be a one of its kind. So we are hoping that we'll be able to involve all those who are interested in renewable energy, particularly in solar energy. So it's going to be an inclusive conference.
Yes, please. Second row. Yeah.
So during this conference, will there be some projects announced under the 3 or 4 programs that, and is there a capacity that you can share, and the number of projects that you can share, that under 50 projects, lines of credit would be facilitated for setting up, I don't know, 20 gigawatts or something? Thanks.
See, we will certainly be sharing the projects which we are going to extend lines of credit. So there will be very clear number of projects. As I said, 20 countries have already come forward. But the reason I didn't give you very specific projects is something, there are small nitty-gritties in the negotiation which we have to complete. But in my remarks, I gave you the areas of these projects which we are covering. That's why I gave you the specific areas, things like rural electrification, then electrification of villages, then off-grid usage. These are all things of great interest to them. And there are a lot of the projects have come on these lines. So that is why I gave you the various areas where they are looking at.
Please use the mic. Yeah.
China is the world leader, market leader in solar equipment, solar capacity. I was wondering, since you are targeting 121 nations, solar focused, can China be kept out of it, or has China expressed interest to be part of it, or is China supporting the ISA? Is there any such thing? Thank you.
See, I presume that China is not in that zone which we are looking at. It's in the zone. It is there. So it has not yet signed it. But let me talk. We are asking about the projects, basically, isn't it? Because we have identified projects which will fit in with the criteria of our lines of credit. Because we have certain criteria for our lines of credit. So it should fit in with our criteria. And there are also specific areas in which we have expertise. And these areas are those which we have conveyed to all these countries, that we have expertise in solar energy. And it is from these specific areas that these countries have taken up. So therefore, we are fully confident of ensuring that whatever goes out not only sticks to the criteria of lines of credit, but will also be completely Indian, so to say. And we'll be able to do it to the fullest satisfaction of the user countries.
Yes, please. Last row.
Sir, what the amount you said, it is enough? 130 crores for an international project, or it will be, money will come more and more?
We said that 130 crores has already been provided by Government of India for setting up ISA. And we would be providing another 45 crores over the next 3 years. The total 165 crore as of date.
Ashish?
So you mentioned that a few heads of the states will also be visiting for this Solar Alliance thing. So the heads of the state, is there any plan of having parallel bilaterals with the Prime Minister Modi, whoever the heads of the states are coming, or it will just be restricted to the Solar Alliance?
The Honorable Prime Minister will be hosting a lunch for all the 55 countries, including all the heads of states and government, on the day of the conference, which is 11th of March. And the previous evening, the Honorable Rashtrapati Ji will be hosting a dinner for the heads of state who will be coming for this ISA. In addition, we are also having provisions for bilaterals. And that, I presume, will be done in the follow-up to the event as well as during the event itself. So there will be provision for bilaterals.
Maybe the last question. Yes, please.
There was a plan of ISA to create a risk mitigation fund of $1 billion. Where does it stand on that?
Working on it.
How far has it been progressed? How many?
Many dimensions where we have to secure where the fund would come from. So this concept is good, and we are at the initial stages.
If there are no other questions, media arrangements we will let you know separately. I think as in any other conferences, we will of course open a link for registration. I think it has already been done. It's already live. If you have any queries on media registration, you can, of course, contact us. My team is here, and we will be able to help you. This concludes the special briefing on ISA. I thank the two secretaries and also the joint secretaries for joining in, and thank you all for your presence.